Today is the 6th day of July 2020 in Marshall, Abaco, Bahamas. And it's so sad that this F&M government have ensured that the Filipinos, the Americans, the Africans, the Indians, the Chinese, and now hundreds of Mexicans, all these people have secure jobs by the government of the Bahamas. And neither Bahamian on Bakers Bay or elsewhere have a secure job. Let me say that again, so that this could resonate throughout the Bahamas and out the world. The Bahamas government, through their work permit program, have secured jobs for Filipinos, Americans, Africans, Indians, Chinese. They love those Chinese. They got them down Bay Street. Everywhere is Chinese. That's their favorite F&M group to employ. And now they went to Mexico. All these people have a secure job under the F&M government and the most honorable Prime Minister, Dr. Hubert Minnis. All of these people come to the Bahamas and they get free housing, they got free maid service, they get free food, they got all the perks. And I hear the foreigners talking in my car that the Bahamians are qualified because in most instances, the Bahamians train the foreigners to take their job. But they said the Bahamians could do the job, but there's too much perks. That means there's too much money for a Bahamian to get it in the Bahamas. You imagine a foreigner here on a work permit, that the job is too lucrative and the perks that come along with the job, black Bahamians don't deserve to have it in their country of the Bahamas under the F&M government. And the F&M government said this is the people's time. But the foreigners that are here on a work permit says too much perks. I hear it in the Abaco Club. I hear it in Bakers Bay. They finally got rid of that tyrant in Treasure Key. And everywhere come and take advantage of Bahamians. And only way they can do that if they got the ministers and the prime ministers in their back pocket. That is what happened when the Prime Minister gave Brent Simonet, the Minister of Investment and Immigration, he secured a $25 million deal. I've been telling you all about Bakers Bay for 13, 14 years and let you all know that Bakers Bay is one of the most corrupt, if not the most corrupt resort in the history of the Bahamas. It's one of the worst investment as far as adhering to the law of this country than any other resort that I know of. They bribe and pay off everybody. And they put the police to put Kai Mills before the courts to silence me. You imagine that? You live in your island of the Bahamas, the way you're born, your birthplace of Dundastan, Abaco. And because you speak of the wrong that is happening, they put you before the courts and keep you before the courts as long as they want to. That is the country I live in. And one of the most irresponsible things that I've heard was from the Minister of Immigration and Environment and Investment, Brent Simonet. Brent is a greedy businessman We call him in Abaco the great white shark. He think that only his family supposed to eat caviar. That is not for the rest of us. That's the way his father taught him. And that's the way he's acted and the way he's teaching his kids that this Bahamas is only for the elite, the Seminates, and so forth, so on. If you don't have that title, you cannot sit at the table in this country. And it happened so often. And Brent Sumner would brag in the House Assembly because he's ill-advised. And he ought not to be ill-advised because he was the minister. And he would say how much monies that the government is making from work permits. And I said, Brent Sumner got to be an idiot. Dr. Marshall showed us the work permit that the managers from Baker's Bay were getting. And I think the highest was $25,000 a year for work permit. But Brent Sumner, they are taking $200,000 in perks and benefit out of this country. So you look at $25,000 work permit, and the managers of Baker's Bay is taking $200,000 each out of this country. And they give their wife a job. And their wife allowed to take their kids to private school. And they're allowed to drink at the bar, eat at the restaurant in Baker's Bay. But 98.9% of the workers in Baker's Bay cannot sit at the table, nor can they drink at the bar at Baker's Bay. This is what you have created, a South Africa in Baker's Bay, an apartheid state. And you get that same South African manager now at the Abaco Club practicing the same racial South African practice that he brought from South Africa into Baker's Bay. Now he's at the Abaco Club. But the Abaco Club is another story. I would like to talk about them next week for 1 week. Highlight what's happening in them after the pandemic, after we is open, and what we have not gotten because we got a South African dictating to the Negroes. How the hell did a white South African become the manager of Baker's Bay? And the money is so good. He crossed over from Baker's Bay. Now he's at the Abaco Club, a South African, telling Kai Mills that he cannot drive white guests to the Abaco Club. But we got to deal with that on another day. I am now doing this video to say of all the countries that are representing in this country, that is represented, Americans, Indians, Chinese, a lot of Filipinos, they throw the black maids out of their house long time. No black person could do maid work in Life at Key no more. You have to have that slick hair and that light pigmentation. The Negroes have been put out of business because of the immigration, the black on black practices in immigration in this country. They have allowed the black mothers and black maids not to could get a job in Life at Key. All light-skinned Filipinos. And all that money is going back to the Philippines. That is what I call black on black racism. And all these jobs is secured. All these Filipinos, these Indians, the Americans, the Mexicans, the Chinese, they all get free food, free living accommodation on Baker's Bay. You know what it is to live in Cooperstown, up to Crown Haven, to have to hustle to come to work to Baker's Bay every day. That's 120 miles a day. When they bring the Mexicans and they give them free housing in air condition, they got generator over there. We don't have generator. We don't have electricity. And the Mexicans just arrived. They don't have to worry about food. Their food is there when they get off from work. Free lunch, breakfast, and dinner. Free accommodation with air conditioning. We, the Abaconians, haven't had that since Hurricane Dorian, September 1st, 10 months ago. And these Mexicans just arrived at Baker's Bay, and they're getting treated better than the people that build Baker's Bay, the black, hard-working Negroes. Somebody need to let Dr. Livingston Marshall know that. These Mexicans has just come ashore, but the blacks have built Baker's Bay up to the standard that they are now. Why can't the blacks rebuild it? Why can't the blacks have the same perks? Free housing, with air conditioning, free food, free maid service in their country of the Bahamas. That is what Kai can bring at the table. As your member of Parliament for North Abaco, Abaco and Abaconian, is there's a project to be had in Abaco. Abaco and Abaconians will be first, and they will be treated like first-class citizens with Kai Mills sitting at the table as your member of Parliament. That is what Kai Mills will bring at the table for North Abaco. Vote for Kai, and don't be shy. Be proud that you finally got somebody that live amongst you and will sit at the table of decision making to make sure your life is better, because you have an MP that cares and live amongst you. Kai cares. Vote for Kai, and don't be shy.